Okay, so greetings everyone. Today is what day, Smalley?
14th of November, 2017.
2017, great. We're in one of the 7 great cities of the world. It's a warm day today out there. And so today we're going to talk about Tribes We Lead, Seth Godin and Derek Sivers, of how it actually works. That's what we're going to do. We're going to pick up after yesterday's tribal leadership with David Logan, and now really break it down and get the 4 steps of how it works and do some examples. We're going to start with our 2 questions. What's the first question?
Was he a good leader?
Good what?
Presenter. Was he
a good presenter? Right. And what's the
presenter?
second question?
Was his persuasive?
Okay, so what are we looking for in the first question? How did you
Learning.
How did you
feel?
feel? Right. How did you feel? And the second question, we're looking for what?
Persuasive? Was he persuasive?
Well, so it's not how you felt, it's what you what? Think. Okay? What you feel and what you think. And why do we do that? Because in here, good presenters are what? Correct. Good presenters make us feel things. And what happens if we feel something?
It changes our beliefs.
Well, if we feel something and they tell us to do something, what's likely to happen? If they tell us to believe something, what's probably going to happen?
Probably gonna believe.
We're probably going to believe it. So that's important to do at work. For work, it's good to be a good presenter. Make the people, your co-workers, your boss, your customers feel something. You know, what's kind of the number 1 thing we want them to feel? That they can what? Say, and what? That they can what? Trust us. That's it. If you think about it, if you go to work or you are trying to sell something and people don't trust you, what happens? Good or bad? Bad. Okay. So that's what we're going to do now. But before we jump into it, we have our memorization. Anybody have any memorization? Are you practicing?
Yes.
Okay. So we got Jamel is going to do what?
How do I love you?
Okay. How do I love thee? How do I love thee?
Thee.
Oh, thee. Okay. How about you? No? Done? Okay. You don't want to do another one?
Practice,
Dedication to your kids or something?
practice Jabberwocky right now.
Okay, good. So T did read Jabberwocky this morning.
He
An
did?
English accent. You just read.
He read.
In an English accent.
Yeah. Okay. So Jamel, you ready? And who's going to do the thing?
I'll do the Q again.
Okay. All right.
Yo, I'm gonna go in on Q that.
Okay. Light on the set. Action.
3, 2. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways.
Wait, okay, it's not going to be good if you're doing this.
My bad.
And so if you need to hold the thing, because we want it to look good. Now, is there anyone you want to dedicate this to? Your mother, girlfriend, kid, daughter? No one?
What's the name on the YouTube, the video right here?
What's the name of the YouTube?
Larson
Larson Training Centers. Larson Training Centers. Okay. All right. So just be still. Remember the camera's there. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Action. Hold it. Wait till I say action. Action.
3, 2. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. I love thee to the depth, breadth, and height my soul can reach when feeling out of sight. For the ends of being an ideal grace. I love thee to every day's most quiet need. By sun and candlelight. I love thee freely as men strive for right. I love thee purely as they turn from praise. I love thee passion put to use in my childhood's old griefs. I love thee with the I love thee with red.
To love. I seem to lose.
Oh, I love thee with the love I seem to lose with my lost saints. I love thee with the breath, tears, and smiles of all my life. I love
And you gotta choose.
and if God choose, I shall but love thee better after death.
Okay, good. Okay, you need to be ready for that, Matt. Huh? When are you gonna be ready for that?
Oh, no, I'm on the third one.
Okay, good, cool. Okay. And are you gonna try Jabberwocky?
I'm in the process of learning, but practice, learning it.
Okay.
I can read it if you want me to read it.
No.
No. I should be doing it by Friday.
Okay. Do you remember it?
I remember, yeah.
It was really,
Twas
It was Brillig and Slithy Toe.
the gyre gimbal into
Gyre
wave.
gimbal.
So you remember this, Mike?
Um,
You don't remember
Only
this? You haven't done this one yet?
I said it's Brillig. It was
Really?
I know I say it differently, but I know the words.
Okay, so we'll just do one line. You don't remember this, Mike?
No, I haven't.
Did you do this
I haven't done Jabberwocky.
Oh, who else has done it? Not Jamel. How far can you go?
I just started the beginning.
Okay, but how many lines can you do? Okay, so just start the first line. Then you do the second, I'll do the third, and you do the next line. We'll just go until you can't go.
Okay. I started it?
Yeah.
Twas Perlite and the slit his toes.
Okay.
It was Brillig and Slithy Toe. The gyre. It was
It's good that you remember this.
the gyre and gimbal in the wave.
Okay, Almenzi were the Borogoves.
And the mom rafts outbreak.
Beware the Jabberwock, my son.
Jaws that bite and claws that catch.
Beware the Jubjubert and Jean.
Wait, are you reading it?
Yeah.
No, this is just how far you remember it.
Oh, that's it.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, cut. Now we'll move forward with our tribes we lead, Seth Godin. Notice this is 2009. Seth Godin is a very important, famous motivational speaker, and a lot more than that. But he really breaks it down very well. Breaks down this. Yesterday we got the concept of tribes. What are tribes? What are the stages of tribes? Now he breaks it down as to how we can nudge them forward. So, first question is what?
Was he a good presenter?
Okay, and what's your answer?
Yes, he was.
Because,
I felt intrigued to learn more.
okay, intrigue. How about you, Simone? Good presenter?
Yes. Good presenter. So good. Understand.
Okay, so you felt good. So neurotransmitters released. What kind of good?
I understand why he was talking about the tribes. How we
Okay.
lead.
But what kind of good did you feel? Like a dopamine good or serotonin good, oxytocin good?
Doublemint.
Okay, do you remember a part where?
Made balloon animal.
The balloon animal part?
Yeah.
Okay. Good presenter?
Presenter.
So you're saying yes?
Yes.
Okay, because I felt what?
Interested, and he said, what do you for a living?
Okay,
Made me think.
okay.
That was my thing.
Jamel?
Yes, because she made me feel like it was reasonable.
Okay,
to start
so we don't want to say, so at this point, let's stop saying because he made me feel. Now we want to go to the next level. We don't, I felt,
I felt,
okay?
yes, because I felt like it was reasonable to start a movement that had meaning to it.
Okay, now is that a feeling or a thinking?
Yes, no, that's a good feeling.
Okay, good. Okay, second question, Gary.
Shit.
No.
Was he persuasive?
Right, was he persuasive? What are we looking for?
Persuasive. And keep you tuned in.
No, that's emotional. What are we looking for?
Feel.
No, we're not looking for feeling. We're
You
looking
persuade
for
me.
thinking. Okay, that first question is about feeling, the second question is about thinking. So did you learn anything? Because you can't be persuaded of something what?
If something doesn't,
You can't be persuaded of something what?
didn't teach you,
If you already know it. If you know something and somebody just repeats what you know, is that persuasion?
no,
No, what is that?
repeating what you already know.
Yeah, it's confirmation, affirmation. You know, that's what it is. So what we're looking for is you could have said, there's 100 things you can say that you learned. Name one.
I learned more about tribes.
Okay, like what?
Learned that tribes can change the world and you don't need everybody, you just need a few people.
Okay. How many?
Well, a tribe starts at from 20 people to 150.
Right. But how many did Seth Godin say you need to change? Need to change the world.
Number?
Yeah.
I didn't hear the number. No.
Okay.
It was 1,000.
Right. Good. Okay. Good. Persuasive.
Yes.
Okay. What's one thing you learned?
The tribes are what matter, and like you were saying, change everything and change the world.
Huh?
The tribes can change everything and change the
Okay.
world.
Tribes can change the world. Okay. How about you, Stefan? Was he persuasive?
He was very persuasive, and I felt.
What I felt. This is what you thought.
I felt very
What you learned. This isn't about feelings. This is about thinking. What did you learn? Something you learned from. What were you persuaded of? There's 100 things. Just name
how
one.
the gentleman that created Zappos shoes, he connected everyone that loved shoes, and that has made his business successful.
Okay. All right. Did anybody learn the process of how you do this?
Yes.
Tell a story.
Okay. That's the second step.
Oh.
Okay. What is the first step? Okay. So
Find something
So let's
to break
break
the
it
status
down.
quo.
Okay, so let's break it down. Make sure you have this in your book, because what we're going to find out when we get through this, what we're going to discover is this can be applied to any circumstance where you need to lead people. This is the steps. Okay, step one is what?
Find something to break the status quo.
Okay. Okay, find something to change the status quo. Now let's focus for a second on Derek Sivers, the little 3-minute video
Yes.
called How to Start a Movement. Okay, this is a good example. Dancing shirtless guy.
Yes.
What was the status quo that he decided to change?
Make everybody dance.
What was the status quo that he decided to change?
Take off his
Sitting
shirt.
down.
Huh?
Take off his shirt.
No? Okay, let me rephrase the question. What was the status quo that he wanted to change?
Get everybody excited.
What was the status quo? And what was everybody doing?
Sitting down.
Before he got up and did something, right?
Sitting, watching some kind of event.
So you got a movement
So
stuff.
who know whatever it was. So the status quo was what? Everybody was what? Sitting on the grass,
Sitting on the
right?
ground.
Maybe looking at that lake or whatever that was. You're sitting around, kind of listening to music. And what did he basically say? That Seth Godin would say. What were the words that Seth Godin would
I'm
put
gonna
in
get
his
us to get
mouth?
this party started.
Yeah, that this will not stand. We need to change this. So he did what?
Got the party started.
Okay, so we found something that needed to be changed. We're not going to sit around, I'm not going to just sit around doing nothing. Okay, what's the second thing? What's the second step?
Tell a story, Phillips.
Okay, tell a story. Now we're going to see Phillips on Thursday when Greg is here. Okay, what's the story shirtless guy told?
It's time to get up and.
You know,
What was the
have
story?
Have some fun.
How did he tell the story?
Body language. He was doing body
By
language.
dancing,
movements,
right?
Dancing.
Okay, so he was telling a story, let's just get out there and dance. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, now here's the key things that you need to put beneath tell a story. To people who believe what you believe. Okay, tell a story to people who believe what you believe. And the second part of that is ignore the non-believers. Ignore the non-believers. What do we normally do if we start telling a story and somebody objects?
We try to
Convince them or talk them
Yeah,
into it.
we get into a debate, we get into an argument, and then what happens?
nothing.
Probably nothing.
Yes.
Now, what would happen to the people who believe what you believe if they're watching this argument and debate?
Like maybe they shouldn't believe you after all.
Yeah, they could start having what
Second
release?
Cortisol.
Cortisol release. Well, I could see your point, but I could see his point. I don't really want to get involved. What do you want to release in people?
Oxytocin.
Oxytocin or what else?
Serotonin.
Dopamine, serotonin. I think the go-to one in situations like this, most of the time you're safe if you guess dopamine. Okay. So you want to release dopamine. You're telling a story, you want to release dopamine because you want to what? Fundamentally, you want to what? No.
Have them proud to be part of the circle.
You want to get people to do something,
Yes.
right? So Simon Sinek, you see an apple, dopamine what? Does what to you?
Makes them want to do something.
Makes you want to do what with the apple?
Eat the
Get the apple.
Get the apple.
Okay? So you're out there dancing, and what do you want dopamine to do? Get people to do what?
Stuff.
You're out there dancing. What do you want people to do?
I'll just get up and dance.
Exactly. So you want to release, probably dopamine, maybe serotonin, but most likely probably dopamine. Okay. So that's the first and second step. You tell a story to people and you only care about the people who believe what you believe. You don't engage with the people who don't believe what you are saying. Yeah.
So this ties in with sales then, from what you said before.
Yeah.
Only focus on the people that believe what you believe, forget about the others.
Yeah. Forget about the other
Forget
people.
about the other people. Got it.
And so if you now go back, focus on Seth Godin for a second. When he says, what did he say about red hat people, white hat people? Because of the internet, you can do what?
They can meet
Yeah.
each other. and connect.
Ukrainian folk dancers. You can get anybody. So the second step is you tell a story. What's the third step?
Connect them.
Connect
You
them.
connect them. Okay, so focus back on Derek Sivers. What was the connecting in part?
He treated the first follower as an equal, showed him how to do the dance, and then the other people started joining him.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
then the person that started the movement didn't seem like he was a nut. Because he had a first follower.
Okay, so let's go back. So you tell a story. Let's go back to Derek Sivers now. You tell a story to the people who believe what you believe, and what are you looking for Derek Sivers? Derek Sivers says you're looking for what?
Followers.
Which follower?
First.
The first follower.
First follower.
Okay, and what does the first follower do to you?
He got up and started dancing.
Okay, but what does he turn you from into what?
From a nut.
From a lone nut
Nut, yeah.
into a follower.
A follower, yeah.
Okay, now, let's bracket for a second. Let's say you're out there, you say the status quo this aggression will not stand. Like, we're not gonna just sit here. I'm gonna get out and dance.
You say that again, what he turned you into?
Huh?
First follower turned you into what?
A leader
Yes, I thought, okay.
from a lone nut. So you decide you're gonna get up and you're gonna start dancing, right? Now let's say you just get out there and you're just doing this. Okay? And you don't get a first follower.
Right.
So what do you need to say to yourself?
You gotta change your movement.
Yeah, okay, they're not buying the story.
Yeah.
This is not changing the status quo. People might think I've got hemorrhoids or something, or I got an itch in my foot, or I stepped on something, or I don't know how to dance, or whatever it is. I'm not changing the status quo, which is we're just sitting around doing nothing. This is kind of like you're just kind of standing around, and if I picture myself with a whole bunch of people just doing this, it's going to look weird in my brain, right? I don't look like I'm having fun. So if you're out there and you're going to try to change the status quo and you can't get a first follower, what do you need to say?
Find something.
Maybe I'm telling the wrong story.
Yeah, maybe I'm telling the wrong story, or I'm telling the right story the wrong way.
Yeah.
I got to get a first follower. Okay, now I get my first follower. What did Derek Sivers say I need to do with him?
Treat him as an equal.
Treat him as an equal. Why?
Because other people are gonna see and join
Well, because I need him to do what?
to lead other.
To bring in other people. So if I'm the leader and I want him to follow me, he needs to be looking at who all the time?
The first follower.
Who does, if I want him to be focused on me, who does he need to be looking at? Me. But who should he be looking at?
His first follower.
Who should the first follower be looking at?
The leader.
You.
No. What did Derek Sivers say? Who should he be looking at?
Everyone.
What's his job?
To recruit more followers.
Yeah, he shouldn't be looking at me. He needs to be looking at the people saying, come on in, not, okay, master, okay, master. Okay, so to get him to be looking at the other people, I can't have him focused on me,
And he turned him around.
and I need to treat him like what?
An equal.
An equal. It's not about me, it's about what?
The movement.
It's about the cause, what we're trying to change the status quo. We need to get people up dancing. Don't keep watching me dance. I don't want these people out there thinking we're dancing together. We're trying to get what?
Everybody can move.
We're trying to get everybody up and dancing. Okay? So you tell a story to the people who believe what you believe. And then you need the first followers you need to treat as what? Equals. You need to treat them as equals so that they go out and do what?
So they go out and follow you. I'm trying to follow you.
They go out and do what?
Recruit.
Get other people.
Return more people.
Yeah, that's what they need to do. Usually these things fail because at this stage, the guy doesn't treat the first followers as equal. He wants them to make sure, hey, no, I'm the boss. I'm the boss. You need to respect me as the boss. You need to do what I say, as opposed to just go get more fucking people in here. We need to bring people in. Who do you know? Get them to come in because of you and because of the cause, the thing we're trying to change. If we want people to vote here in Las Vegas, do we want them to vote because of you?
No.
Do we want it to be like, this is the Gary movement?
No, you wanna get them to vote for a purpose, for a
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah. Okay, because we don't want North Las Vegas to look like a dump,
Right, right.
right? Right, Jamel? Okay, and how is that, how are we gonna have it not look like a dump? We vote. We elect people who are gonna do what we tell them to do, not what the people in Summerlin tell them to do.
Get people to register and make plans, set up blueprints.
Yeah, okay? So you get your first group of people, and here's the message. We've got to make this area look good. We've got to have people proud of where they're from. Isn't that a good message? Be proud of where you live. Who do you know? Who do you know? And then people will say, oh, I know this or I know that. Greg is very good at that part. Okay, so we find something that needs to change. North Las Vegas looks like a dump. We want people to be proud of where they're from. That's a simple message. So we need to change this area. But to change it, we need what?
Money.
Money. Where's the money? Who's got the money?
People.
County commissioners
Yeah.
have the money. City council has the money. We know they have money because they keep getting paid, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Who has the money, huh?
Yeah. Who has the money?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Right.
to change the status quo, we got to get the money, but the guys who have the money aren't spending the money on what we need, so we need to do what? Find people who will do what?
Change the status quo.
Spend the money where we want it spent. So our people, our kids can grow up to be proud of where they're from. That's the story. And then it will resonate with some people. And other people will say things like, it'll never work. What do we say to them?
We don't say anything to that.
Okay,
You ignore the non-believers.
yes, okay. That's what you believe, okay.
Cool. Whatever.
You could be right. Certainly if we believe that, go back to the guy talking about the reticular activation system, right? Your self-image. If you believe we can't change it, you're going to be what?
Prone to believe that you can't change.
You're going to be right. If you think we can't change it, you're going to be right. Okay, cool. Next. And then you look for those people. Okay, and then you get a whole bunch of people, and now you need to connect them. And then what's the fourth step? Lead them. You need to lead them. Okay, so back in January, after President Trump was sworn into office, like the weekend he was sworn in, there was a big women's movement. Does anybody remember that?
No.
The women around the country were showing up.
He said he was disrespectful towards women.
What was that thing called? Okay. Well, let's break it down. But does everybody remember? In almost every major city, they had all of these women go down for some kind of a march. Do you remember?
Is it here?
Yeah.
I just don't remember the name.
Because you remember that?
Yeah, I remember, but
Okay. So the fact that we don't remember what it was
What was the problem?
fits into why nothing ever happened. So the status quo needed to be changed. There's something about women weren't being treated right. President Trump was, didn't like women or whatever it was. I don't remember what it was. But all of these women, the story was told, and around the country, maybe in 20 cities, 30, 40, I don't know, cities, major cities, women showed up to join this parade, have solidarity about this needs to change. And they sort of argued with the other side and said, no, you're wrong. They engaged in that, and when they got up there speaking, they were addressing the naysayers. Instead of focusing on women or this, they went back to focus on, well, this guy, doesn't like women. He says outrageous things about women. And Hillary, we like Hillary. They were doing all kinds of crazy stuff. The story got confused. But the women showed up, so they were connected. But what happened the next week? Nothing. Because why? Nobody stepped out to lead them. So they would get actresses there. They would get actresses there to show up, to talk, believed in the cause of being there, how they believed in the story. But when it was over, where did these actresses go? Yeah, they went back to what they did. It said, I showed up, I support the cause, but nobody came forward to say, what?
Follow me.
Follow me, yeah.
And the same thing happened when he spoke in Arizona. He had women to the right of him when he spoke and presented his message. And then he had another guy on the other side of him with a sign up that says, Blacks for Trump. And his entire message, nothing happened with it because there were 3 messages going on at the same time. And he couldn't, there was no leadership.
You're talking about the president.
Yeah, the president.
Well,
When he spoke in Arizona.
well, I'm talking about when the women showed up and they had this march.
Right.
Nothing happened after that. So
Right.
you could say, well, he is the leader. People are following him.
Right.
And you had the women over here saying women for Trump or whatever the thing said, and over
Right.
here was blacks for Trump.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And, they didn't really engage.
Nothing happened exactly.
Okay. So now let's see, President Clinton, when he was president, was very good at when naysayers would bring up stuff about him, he was very good at saying, that's old business. We talked about that yesterday. Let's move forward. We need to focus on running the country type of things. He would not engage after he'd tell a story and somebody would raise their hand and say, well, what about Monica Lewinsky? That's an old story. Let's focus on what's important now. That's a good example of what he did. And what happened?
Nothing
He's
happened.
thought of as a great president.
Yeah.
Okay, because he just kept focused on his story and the people who believed his story. And you don't want to engage with the non-believers because what could happen to your followers?
Decrease.
Yeah, you already have them as followers. They're not going to become more followers. You can only lose those people. So don't engage in stuff that's not on your story. Don't focus on a story that's not your story. Just keep repeating your story to the people who believe what you believe. And with 7 billion people in the world, trust me, you're not going to run out of potential believers, no matter what your story is. Okay, so it's really that simple. It's basically that simple. Find part of the status quo that needs to be changed. How can you do that? How can you find part of the status quo that needs to be changed?
Be a good leader.
How can you find part of the status quo that needs to be changed? Just think about that. How can you find part of the status quo that needs to be changed?
Something that doesn't feel right.
Yeah, you could be sitting in your bed tonight and saying, what bothers me? What's something that I don't like? And then ask yourself what? You're going to come up with the thing. Okay, well, the food here bothers me. Okay. Then the next thing would be, does it bother me enough that other people might care? Or is it just bothers me and nobody else really cares?
What about the food?
Well, whatever it is, you figure out what bothers me. What am I bothered about?
But if you can check, like we were talking about, it was yesterday, knowing what we can change and what we can't, like that's something that
We can control.
yeah, we control. Yeah, that's something like
So this is
it
different.
is what it is,
Okay,
Yeah.
but this is different. This is not things we can control or not control. This is there something that needs to be changed? So let's say the issue is What really bothers me, and I'm just making this up, what really bothers me is the bologna. Now, I would know, because I refused to eat the bologna when I was in jail, prison. I wouldn't eat it. Okay? But let's say you're laying on your bunk tonight and you say, what bothers me? Well, the bologna here bothers me. It's really bad quality. And I think they should change the bologna. Or I think we should get sliced turkey. Okay. So what do you need to do? You just did step one. What's step two?
Put in the cut.
No.
Find it first.
False. Step two is not to put in a cut. That's what
I'm
people do.
playing.
Okay, but what is the thing to do then? You can read it right off the board.
Tell a story.
Okay, what's the story?
The bologna here is.
The bologna here sucks. It's probably poisonous. It's dangerous. We might get cancer.
Bologna is bologna.
Okay.
When you told that story the first time for me, I'm a module worker, so I serve people the trays in the module. And whenever there was bologna, I actually told people that, oh, I'm not gonna eat that, that's horse meat. And when I was doing the cleaning afterwards, I saw several slices of bologna in the big trash can. So people actually, they thought that I was right, that it was horse meat, and they wouldn't.
So what
eat
did
it.
you do? What did you do?
They would
Planted a belief in people's heads,
and they believe that.
okay, because they wanted to, right? Story to people, and you only care about the people who believe it,
Yes.
okay? This is, this is going to give you cancer. This is cancer causing.
Is it really hard for me?
No.
See how that works?
See how that works?
Okay? Yeah.
Go away.
What's your favorite meal here?
I can do that after the house goes, though, with my bologna every day.
There's nothing really turned down.
Versus-
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very neutral right now.
Okay. So my suggestion is not to be neutral, because what did Seth go call people like the kind of person that Matt just described?
Well, I accept the
Not
fact.
sheeple,
Sheepwalkers.
sheepwalkers. Okay, people who just put their heads down and go along.
Well, my choice for the food is that I'm gonna eat it, or somebody's
You
asking.
think you're going to die if you don't eat it?
No, I don't think I'll die.
Okay.
I think that.
So, but let's go on with this little game.
Yeah.
We're just doing a little game here, a little exercise. So find something that needs to be changed. How do you do that? How did I say one way to do that?
What pisses me off? What-
Change it.
Yeah, just be sitting on your bed at night. What bothers you? You just think of the thing that bothers you.
Start beating the CO.
Huh?
Start beating up the CO if you fall.
No.
Yeah.
No. Okay. Because we're trying to start a movement. We're trying to start a movement. So find something that bothers you. Find something that bothers you, then what? Tell the story.
Tell a story,
The story, to be compelling, needs to make people what?
believe,
Feel.
feel good,
Okay? First, they have to feel. So you have to do what?
release,
Release neurotransmitters so they feel the story, and then they're going to do what?
believe it.
They're going to convince themselves
It's
true.
I don't like these
Okay?
blankets.
So what neurotransmitters did you release when you said, this is horse meat?
Cortisol.
Cortisol. Holy shit.
And he looked over afterwards and said, is it really horse meat?
So what do you think I am, French?
They say McDonald's meat is horse meat.
No, it's not.
No.
It's not.
That's what people say. I
Well,
still eat it.
that's because they're morons.
I'm
McDonald's meat is good meat.
gonna
But
still
anyway-
eat it.
But anyway, let's go on with our little exercise or game. You tell a story to the people who believe what you believe.
These blankets is quills.
And what might they do?
I want the
They have
blankets.
to continue to tell the story to other people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Throw away the book.
they threw away the meat in
Okay.
the trash can.
But you want them to do what?
While you
Tell other
Yeah,
people.
other
Yes.
Okay, you want them to tell other people.
get the
And the
book.
people who say, fuck this, I'm hungry, I don't care if it's rat. If it's not gonna kill me, I'll eat it.
Right.
Because my ego doesn't cause me to say this aggression will not stand. I'm not going to be treated like an animal. I'm not going to eat food that is not fit for a human. This is what I convinced myself when I was there about not eating food. I'm not going to be treated like an animal. Just a story I created for myself. Okay, third step. Okay, now you had people, Stefan, throwing away their bologna.
Yes,
Okay, but what did you not do?
I did.
What's the third step? No, what's the
Connect
third
them.
step? You didn't connect them.
I didn't connect them, no.
You didn't follow up with people and say, good job. You did the right thing. You're going to feel much better tomorrow. Notice the other people that ate this meat tomorrow or later in a couple hours, they're going to be kind of weird. They're going to be sluggish, or they're going to be something. You're going to feel good.
They're not gonna be in the rec yard, pushing out,
They're
pushing
gonna be
up.
on the toilet.
Okay? Well, you can't go too extreme. But you need to connect them so that next time that bologna is served, what doesn't happen? The next time bologna is served, what doesn't happen?
People don't throw them away.
No, people do throw them away. They don't eat them.
They don't
That's
eat
what
them,
I
yeah.
said.
Okay, that's the connecting part. And then they tell other people. And then you need to lead them by saying what? If we can get enough people
There you
To
go.
live,
We want to be alone.
and to do what?
keep throwing away the balloon.
Throw away the bologna, what's going to happen?
And I throw it away.
You leak them.
Huh?
You leak
No, but what's going to happen?
They start
Might be able to change the status quo.
Not might.
We will.
It will change the status quo.
Yeah. They'll just say, you know what? It's just we can buy a lot of things. You don't have to buy bologna. Because these people are not going to eat the bologna.
Yeah,
Why
We
don't
can
they
give
do
them
this
peanut
to-
butter.
I will need it.
We can do,
You give me a good idea when you said, hey, some guy told me that's supposed to be, so I'm gonna take everybody's bologna.
That's why I just did
I
you
said, I
can't do a Samoan guy because it's like spam.
Oh, yes, I want spam.
Okay.
Spam used to be.
Okay, so that's how it would work. That's how it would work.
I like
Yeah.
the turkey.
In California, these things do work. Because what do you think they do?
They unite.
They have hunger strikes. And the hunger strike lasts how long do you think?
The week,
Not
Nope.
very long.
Not a week.
So about 3 days.
2 days.
Nope, not 3 days, not 2
As
days.
soon as they say there's a hunger strike, then they try to change it right away.
Soon as they announce we're not eating,
And
when
someone's
the
going
shot
to
callers announce we're not doing it, then the COs get together and say, is what?
Well,
Is this real?
Yeah.
Or is this bluff? And if they think it's real, they're going to probably do what?
Change it.
Change the menu.
Figure out what they need to do. Because they don't want it getting in the news that people won't eat the bologna because it's horse meat. Or it's out of date. Or it was thawed and then it was frozen and it was thawed.
They
and it was
barely even
refrozen.
give us meat in this place, and then if you ask everybody here, they're hungry.
Okay, well, guess what happens if you don't eat for a few days? What do you think happens?
Sick.
yeah, I think you lose weight.
What else happens?
Your
You
mind,
start.
You stop. Well, no, you lose your appetite.
Yeah.
You get used to it.
You just get used to it.
That ain't good though.
Well, it actually is good.
Why?
Huh?
Why is it good?
Because if you didn't get used to not having food, you'd start eating other people.
Yesterday, hey, these CLs here, correct. Yesterday after I left from class here, I was kind of tired. I went back to the dorm and I passed out. And I actually accidentally slept through the dinner.
Yeah.
I told the CO about it. Well, first of all, I told the people around me how come they didn't wake me up. And then after I got into that little debate, I told the CO, hey man, I was kind of tired after I left out of class. I didn't eat it. It's okay if you call down to the kitchen and have them bring me a tray. He told, oh fucking well, so what?
Yeah.
You know, these
That's the fourth law of power.
right. These COs here, my point is these COs here, they don't care, they're kind of corrupt, man. In reality, it's against the law. We're supposed to get 3 meals a day.
Yeah, but you refuse the meal.
I was asleep.
Well, you say you were asleep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
I
but-
refuse it.
So where did the wheels fall off the wagon for you?
I didn't even know I fell asleep, to be honest.
Okay, but that's not where the wheels fell off. What's Simon Sinek's thing about the circle of safety? You're supposed to be able to do what?
Trust the people around you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you should be able to go to sleep, and if there's danger, like you're not gonna get dinner, they're supposed to do what?
Warn me.
Wake you up.
Wake you up.
Yeah, warn you.
Yeah, I
Hey,
got a clear understanding with somebody after that, so, you know, they said from now on, anytime they see me pass out, they're waking me up as I'm sitting there woke now.
okay, so I wouldn't say passed out. I
Right.
would say I used my brain so much, I was tired and I needed a nap. Nolan Bushnell and other people who are very smart say it's good to take a nap every afternoon. Just a 20-minute nap.
Every time I get up, there's something like, hey, y'all wake me up, child come. You already know, just wake me up.
I do the same thing.
Okay, that's part of the
And
circle of safety.
And when I get
So you
compensated,
can't blame the correction officers for being correction officers.
Oh, I didn't blame them for it, but at the same time, if I was a correction officer and I knew for a fact that that kid passed out and, you know, he wasn't trying to
What if
sleep
you
to
didn't?
dinner, you know, I would
But
have
if you
called
didn't
down
know,
to
it's
the
his job
kitchen.
to go around and see who's asleep. It's his job to wake up people.
He woke up somebody else that was 4 beds down from me and passed
How do you
me
know?
up for some reason because they told me they
Well,
did.
maybe they did, maybe he didn't.
sometimes when I get my contract.
But again, it's the fourth rule of power.
No.
Fairness only occurs between equals. The strong do
When you get your
can, the weak
commissary,
suffer
what?
they must.
I said, sometimes when I get my contract, if I got enough, I help out other people, like, you don't eat and stuff like that.
Yeah. Somebody looked out for me.
So,
we got
all
good
right,
people.
so let's go back. What are we doing for time? Okay. So let's do another exercise to see if this actually works. So somebody this morning brought up, what was it they brought up? Something about, can you start a movement and then you leave the movement, you're gone, and can the movement continue?
Absolutely.
Okay, so what's an example?
Apple.
Gang.
Well-
Steve Jobs is gone.
Yeah, but is
It's
Apple
going
going
down,
this
though.
way or is it coasting down?
It's going,
Kind of
it's
close
going
down.
up.
Hmm?
They're going up.
You said Apple, iPhones and stuff?
Yeah, but they got
Man,
rid
they
they got rid of
going
Steve Jobs, it meant it
There's still
was
people on the
quality,
iPhone
and then they
6,
brought
and
them
they
back.
coming out with 18.
Okay, but is it because they have replaced Steve Jobs?
No.
Nah,
Okay, so what's a different example that we can all agree actually
like,
the
Marvel,
movement continued after the lone nut
like
leader wasn't in it?
like Marvel,
Marvel?
yeah, like the comics and stuff, how they make the movies, you know, the other dude who was a part of it, he like split up because of what they did with X-Men or Fantastic Four. You see the old
Okay, but
Fantastic
so who was the
Four.
leader?
I forgot the
Okay, so we have to have an identifiable leader. So the question is, if you have a leader,
What's the church?
what church?
Like leader, like presidents of the church, or even president.
What church?
Any church, like president of the United States. How about that? Government's still going.
Gangs is
Why is that,
a
do we have a movement?
Gangs is a deal.
Okay. MLK, let's focus on MLK. Let's ask the question with MLK. What was his thing?
He have a dream.
Wanted to lead black people out of suppression.
Okay, what happened? How'd that work out?
He was killed.
Well, what has happened now?
And they still
Do
trying to get.
black people feel they've been taken out of oppression?
No, it's a lot of different politics with that.
Okay, well, why are people not standing up for the national anthem if everybody agreed? Is that the civil rights movement won?
That's what I'm saying, 'cause
People
it's-
aren't agreeing
Still
with.
not treated equal. Still not treated equal.
Okay, so Martin Luther King didn't work.
LDS,
LDS, okay. So what's LDS?
Latter-day Saints.
Okay, are you one?
No, I was happy to read the book, Gospel Principles. Now,
Okay, so who started the Mormon church?
Joe
No.
Smith.
John
Joseph
Smith.
Smith. Joseph Smith. What happened to Joseph Smith?
He was in prison.
He went to a forest and,
No, what happened to him?
oh,
Did he die with his boots on? Yeah. Did he die in his bed at night, of old age, surrounded by his 32 wives?
yeah.
They faked his death themselves.
What happened to him?
Him and his brother were in prison, weren't they?
Jail.
Jail.
What happened?
They were shot.
Yeah, they killed him. Some guys broke into the jail and shot him through the bars of the jail, killed him.
Yeah.
What happened to the Mormons after that?
They continue.
They
You can
continued
see
Stronger than ever,
Yeah,
because he became what?
martyr.
And a what? Prophet.
Prophet.
But God spoke directly to him. Okay. How about before that?
Jesus.
Jesus. Okay, so let's say same thing, right?
Same scenario.
What happened?
Yeah, killed.
What was the status quo that he wanted to change?
Oh, Jesus?
Yeah,
Basically slavery.
slavery? No,
No.
It was something.
you didn't say free the slaves.
I mean, no, I was saying like, what they was doing right there.
They didn't want people to follow him.
Huh?
They didn't want people to follow him.
Jesus was trying to turn
What was the
everybody into
story?
believers.
What was the status quo that he wanted to change?
Something about the Jews.
Okay, something about the Jews.
The Romans and
Okay, on the target.
they was killing all the Jewish believers.
Okay, so
How many
the
different
status
stories
quo
there
he
with
wanted,
Jesus?
huh?
There's a lot of different stories with Jesus.
Okay, but what was this, if you break it down and say, what was the status quo that he was trying to change? Because if he wasn't changing anything, what would have happened?
Was he trying to change? Or was he
Nothing would have happened. If he wasn't trying to, if there wasn't something that people were unhappy
He
about,
was definitely trying
nothing
to
would
make.
change.
He was definitely trying to make people believers that there is a God, that his
well, they
Father.
already believed. He was talking to Jews.
But a lot of people didn't know. That's why he was going
But he
around.
wasn't, he didn't care about those
Kings
people.
and emperors and stuff. So
Huh?
the Romans had kings and emperors and stuff. So he wanted.
Did he care about the Romans?
Who?
Jesus.
Yeah.
No.
I thought he was.
What did he say about the Romans? Give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. He just, yeah, oh, this, should we pay money on the weekends? He knew they were trying to trap him, so he said, well,
It's
give me a
for-
coin.
for
He gave him a
anybody
coin,
to
he
get.
said, whose
Oh.
picture's on this?
So about everything.
Caesar. Oh, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Give unto God what is God's.
I thought he was, to me, my perception was that he was just doing.
Yeah, I know he
Just
cared
doing
about
what he was
everybody.
doing, you know?
Okay,
And-
we
and-
gotta break it down. No.
Like, I haven't read.
Go back and say, what's the status quo he was changing? Now, Gary brought up believers. His real focus was on Jews, people who already believed in God. He wasn't going out to people who,
That he was the
Egyptians that believed in the sun god. His focus was on his people. Okay, when he would go out talking, it was the Jews that would go out and listen.
They were oppressed.
Okay, so
And
what was the status quo?
What
Well,
was he teaching the Jews that they didn't know, that they didn't already know, since they were believers already?
okay, what's the Sermon on the Mount?
The what?
Sermon on the Mount, the Beatitudes. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are the poor in spirit. And what was he saying?
He was for the underdog.
Yeah, it's okay to be a loser. Because why? This life is not important. It's when you die. You want to be with God. You don't care about this life. So what was the status quo at that time then? What were people believing? I need to get ahead right now. I need to have nice clothes, nice car, helicopter, Ezekiel. Okay, I need to have this stuff. I need to have stuff. And I'm going to give some of it to the church, to the temple. And the way of life was might makes right. That was the way of living at that time. Might makes right. If you can do something because you're wealthy or powerful, it's okay. And that's the world that the Jews lived in with the Romans. The Romans are in charge right now. We just need to hang tough and we'll outlast them. And so what was Jesus' message? What was his story? So that was the status quo he wanted to change. Might makes right. What was his message?
Turn to God.
Huh?
Turn to God.
Well, what was his message?
He was the son of God.
No, he didn't say worship me because I'm the son of God. He said, my dad told me to do what?
You will be
What's the new covenant?
You promised to me.
Love.
Yeah.
Just love your enemies. Love. Just operate with love. Be a nice guy. Don't be might makes right. Love. And who did that? Who were the believers of that?
Jews.
Well, he was only talking to Jews, but who were the believers?
His followers.
Huh?
His followers.
Well, but they weren't followers until they told them the story, and then who believed the story? What kind of people? The powerful people, the rich people?
No, they didn't believe the story.
The poor people. Yeah, the people who didn't have anything. So he's giving them a message of, you know what? This material stuff, power isn't important. It's what happens after you die. And I'm making a place with my dad, and anybody who's worthy can come up with me and have a better life after, a better eternal life. So don't get upset about your life now. It's not really a big deal. Right? That's what Christianity is. And then what happened? He started connecting people, right? So it'd be like, okay, Jesus is going to go talk by the lake today. Let's go, everybody. Right? And they went. And then people were spreading the word, right? And then what happened?
That pissed off the Romans.
Pissed off the who?
The Romans.
No. Pissed off the Jews.
Well, first the Jews, but then it pissed off the Romans.
Well, it didn't piss off the Romans. Not for 100 years. Because who arrested him?
The Jew?
The Jews. Jews arrested Jesus, and they brought him to who?
Augustus.
So the Romans, and what happened? Not Augustus.
They
Pontius
killed him?
Pilate.
They killed him?
Pontius Pilate said many times, I don't see anything, what's this guy done wrong?
They Romans crucified.
So yes, and what's he done? This guy's just a nutcase. He sent him to Herod and said, you know, he's one of your people, you deal with. Herod sent him back saying, this guy's just a crazy guy. And the Jews said, we demand that you crucify him. So the Romans said, well, we're going to punish him. And what did they do? Anybody see the last temptation of Christ?
They nailed him on the cross.
No, before that.
They made him carry one.
No, before that. Yeah, they beat him. They did what the Romans were very good at.
Oh, yeah, that's what was in my head when they put a big wooden cross on his back and made him.
No, before that, though.
You start with
They beat him, and Pilate said, okay, I've punished the guy. And they said, no, now you need to crucify him. So at that point, Pilate did what? Washed his hands of the thing and said, you know what? I'm washing my hands of this. Okay, we'll kill him because we don't really care. We can do it. You know, we're good at it. We control you people. I'll kill him, but I'm washing my hands because I don't see anything wrong with him. But today is the day you get to decide what you're going to do. And if you want to crucify him and let this other guy go, okay, we're not going to lose any sleep over it. So then they had him carry his cross and they crucified him. And then what happened? So let's go now back to the story. The leader was just removed. The guy who wanted to change the status quo was just removed. What happened?
The followers again.
Huh? What actually happened?
Some people still was,
They crucified him, they put him in a tomb, right? And he was dead. And what did his followers do? Did they rise up?
no, they was scared of them.
Huh?
They was scared.
Yeah, and they were where? They went into kind of hiding, and they locked themselves in this building and said, holy shit, they could be coming after us next. Remember what happened with Peter? They said, hey, you know that guy, right? You're one of his followers, right?
They hung them with them.
And what did he say?
He said no.
I don't know that guy. I'm just an innocent bystander, right? And so they're hiding up in this room with the door locked.
2 people got hung, but
Yeah, but they were criminals. They weren't just
oh
guys.
yeah,
They were
murder.
just guys. So they went and they hid in a room. And so now is the part where the Jesuits almost got the Emperor of Japan to become a Catholic, which would have changed the world. Because the Jesuits said, this guy really was the Son of God. Because he what?
Resurrected.
Yeah, exactly. He came back from the dead. And the Jesuits say something had to happen. If you have these guys all of a sudden, they're in this room and they're saying, holy shit, they're going to kill us. Why didn't they go back to being fishermen and these other things? Why didn't they just wait till dark, slink out of town, go back to what they knew? Why did they all of a sudden decide to keep telling the story?
They believe.
Because he came back.
Yeah.
The story is he got resurrected and he showed up by him and said, okay guys, I'm back. You can put your hand in my wound, put it in my side. I'm me. It's me. I'm back. See, what I told you is true is true. And so the Jesuits thing is that they had no reason to do that. And who's the first guy that became a martyr? What was his name? Stephen? Somebody right after that. So, you know, the story is Jesus came back and he had the Holy Ghost, Holy Spirit come in, and they anointed these guys, and they all got these magical powers, and that's what happened. So then who led them? Who became the new leader? Who is Rocky? Who is Rocky? Peter.
Peter.
Oh, yeah.
So the old version say that he didn't say you are the rock. He said you're Rocky. You're like it was he's calling him. You're like Rocky. You're not. I'm going to build this on you. You're a tough guy that I can give the keys to, and you're going to keep this thing going. And so what happened? It did. So if you find part of the status quo that needs to be changed, and you tell a story, and for the story to be convincing, it has to be what? People have to what?
Believe.
Feel it. And they feel it because what? Neurotransmitters are released in their brain. Then they feel it. And then they do what? When you tell them to do something, they do what?
Do it.
Yeah, and they create these little beliefs that they put in their reticular activation system. So all of a sudden, the whole world changes to match what?
Believe.
Yeah, to match their beliefs. So remember what the guy said about your self-image and your self-beliefs? So once you do that, now all of a sudden is, boy, this was actually true. The veil has come off my eyes. Now I see things clearly based upon this story. And the story could be as simple as, this is horse meat, but not in France. Why?
They eat horse?
Yeah.
like horse meat.
Yeah, so it won't work in France, but it would work here if you get people to believe the story. Now, it's usually better to get them to believe a story where it's these neurotransmitters, not cortisol. Okay, because you can also have a cocktail. You could get oxytocin, we're in this together, pal. Let's hang on together. Navy SEALs, when they're out in the surf, they have their arms interlocked, where they're carrying the boats together, really crammed in tight, or they're doing things together. So
Yeah, they can't be more than like 2 feet away from each
I
other.
wonder if horse and Bambi taste alike.
what?
I wonder if horse and Bambi taste alike.
Horse and Bambi? No, they don't. They taste very different.
Jimmy is good.
Okay. There's a butterfly. Just checking. Okay, so let's see. All right, so to summarize, this is really simple stuff. It's just like a formula. It's just like cooking at home. There's a little bit of talent that's needed, but it's mainly just going step by step by step. You just have to do this, and this, and this, and this, and this. So where we've come to is in our brains, we have three parts, right? Or three functions that we focus on. What's one function? Okay, and that's about our what? Our beliefs, and then what's another function of the brain?
Neurotransmitters.
The neurotransmitters, and that has to do with what?
Our feelings.
Our feelings, and what's another part?
Neurons.
Connect them, right? And that's the neurons, and what's stored there?
Imagination.
Okay, live past, anticipate the future, ability to stimulate things, imagination, all of that is there, and these three things work together so that our beliefs change our what? Behavior, and behavior changes what?
Outcome.
Yeah, or our outcome change, and our outcome changes what? The outcome changes what? The beliefs. If we pray and it rains, we tend to think that what? Praying causes what? Rain. Or 75% of the people who get in car wrecks have eaten carrots within the previous 24 hours. What do we think we might need to do?
Not eat carrots.
Not eat carrots. Okay, it's just they're two facts
Just fucking carrots eat you.
that are at the same time. You know, like 99% of people that get in car wrecks were alive before they got in the car wreck. So that means if you don't want to be in a car wreck, be dead. Right? If 99% of people that get in car wrecks are alive.
Be dead.
Do you think that carrots really help your vision?
Yeah, good.
Or is that just something,
You gotta eat a lot of carrot stuff. Right?
because I done ate a lot of
eat a lot
fucking
of
carrots. I should be seeing clear view of everything.
Well, you could be seeing a lot worse if you didn't eat the carrots.
Yeah.
Okay.
It might take a lot of them. You might have to start at a young age and just continue to cycle throughout life or something.
Yeah, because I didn't eat carrots.
Okay, so we started the journey 4 weeks ago with the brain, how the brain works. Now this week, we're starting the next few weeks before we repeat the cycle with how do we now impact other people? And the starting point was yesterday where we said we need to recognize what?
The tribes?
All people form tribes. So whenever we get with a group of people, that's a tribe, and every tribe is at what? Some, what? Stage, right. They're at some stage, and David Logan has broken it down to there's 5 basic stages. So we need to know that, and if we're going to become part of the tribe, what do we need to do to that tribe?
Figure out who the leader is.
Nudge it forward. The goal is to nudge it forward. Okay? And then today we learned how we actually go about doing that. Okay? So if you're in a stage 2 tribe, which could be here, and you want to nudge them forward, what do you need to do first? On the board of
Find something to change the status quo.
Yeah. Okay, because what's the status quo? My life sucks. Okay, find one thing to change in the status quo. Hey, you know what? If we change this, my life wouldn't suck as much. And then I could change the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing. And pretty soon, what's going to happen?
They're going to the next step.
My life isn't going to suck anymore. And I would get to stage what?
3.
Which is what?
I'm great.
I'm great, you're not. Okay? That's how it works. You go to a stage 3 tribe, what do you want to nudge them towards?
The 4.
Okay, and so what do they need to do in order to get there?
Tell a story.
They need to do what? How do you get people from stage 3 to stage 4?
Nudge them forward.
How do you nudge them forward? What do you need them to do? They need to go from what to what? From what? What's stage 3?
I'm great. You're not.
Okay, 2.
We're great.
We're great. So what do they need to do in order to do that?
Become a team.
Yeah, they need to take their personal beliefs down here in their reticular activation system and replace those beliefs about why I need to be great with what? Why we need to be great. And so you got to find something to get people to give up. It's about me, to believe it's about what?
That's
We, us. Okay, that's what you need to do.
Like in our modules, like when we go outside and do the rec yards, like sometimes we'll get somebody fresh and, you know, we got a little workout program and they go like, I can't do this, I can only do 10 push-ups. And of course, we all nudge them forward, you know, keep them motivated, try to release the serotonin and oxytocin. He's seen me out there and, you know, recruiting people.
Endorphins.
Yes, so we always try to keep everybody nudge forward, but I noticed when I had first got here, everybody was like the stage 3 tribe. I'm great, you're not. I'm not going to do workouts with you. I'm doing my own thing, and my thing, what I'm doing is better than yours.
Okay. So that would be, so you recognize that's a natural state, right? Because you can't take people from stage 2 to stage 4 because what?
Because they can't see past.
They can't,
They can only
yeah.
see up and down.
Here,
one stage.
right. They can only go one stage at a time. So you have to take people from stage 2 to stage 3. Okay, so let's turn this off, pass our books forward.